The first time Arwa Malik stepped into the glass and marble mansion overlooking the quiet daytime city, she felt the strange certainty that her life was about to tilt in a direction she could not yet see. The sun was high, pouring through tall windows and casting clean, honest light on everything it touched, yet her chest felt tight, as if she were walking into a storm disguised as calm. She was not supposed to be here. She was only covering a shift. Just one day. Just one favor. But fate, patient and unannounced, was already waiting for her behind those polished doors before the story truly begins. If you believe that kindness deserves second chances and that simple acts can change entire lives, take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Arwa was 24, quietly strong in the way people become when life teaches them early that no one is coming to save them. Her mornings began before sunrise, helping her widowed mother manage the small tailoring work they ran from home. Her younger brother was still in school, her dreams had been folded neatly and placed aside, and every rupee mattered. Her older sister, Sana, worked as a daytime maid in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the city, cleaning homes that felt like another universe. When Sana woke up sick one morning, pale and shaking, Arwa did not hesitate. She tied her scarf, packed a simple lunch, and promised she would manage just one shift. She did not know that this one decision would rearrange everything she thought she understood about pain, responsibility, and love. The house belonged to Xavier Reed, the chief risk officer of a global finance firm, a man whose name appeared in business articles beside words like calculated, controlled, and unshakable. To the outside world, he was success wrapped in tailored suits and precise decisions. Inside the house, in the bright stillness of midday, he was a single father moving through grief with quiet exhaustion. His wife had passed away 2 years earlier after a sudden illness, leaving behind a home full of silence and a daughter whose laughter had slowly faded. Xavier managed risk for a living, but nothing had prepared him for the fragile uncertainty of raising a child alone while carrying his own unspoken sorrow. Arwa noticed the silence immediately. It was not peaceful, it was heavy, like air before rain. She cleaned carefully, respectfully, never touching more than necessary. Every surface gleamed already, yet the house felt untouched by warmth. Family photos sat on shelves, frozen moments of smiles that no longer moved. She told herself not to look too closely, not to imagine stories that were not hers to carry. Still, something pulled her attention toward the wide living room, where sunlight spilled across the floor and stopped abruptly at a wheelchair position near the window. That was where she saw Anaya. Anaya Reed was 11 years old, small for her age, her dark hair braided neatly, her hands resting still in her lap. Her eyes followed the light outside, watching other children in the distance, running, moving freely in the bright afternoon. A year earlier, an accident had changed everything. A car crash had left her paralyzed from the waist down. Since then, her world had shrunk to careful routines, medical appointments, and quiet days spent watching life happen without her. The house was full of caregivers and schedules, but very little joy. Arwa froze, unsure whether to approach or retreat. She had not been told about the child. She worried about overstepping, about saying the wrong thing. But Anaya turned her head slowly, meeting Arwa's eyes with a look that was neither curious nor shy, just deeply tired. In that moment, Arwa recognized a loneliness she knew too well. It reminded her of nights she spent awake worrying about money, about the future, about how invisible struggle can feel in a world that keeps moving. She continued her work quietly, yet something shifted inside her. She made sure the room felt lighter, opening curtains fully, letting the day in. She arranged the books neatly near Anaya's reach and placed a small bowl of fruit beside her, not as an act of duty, but care. Anaya noticed. Her eyes softened just a little as Xavier observed all of this from the hallway without interrupting. He was used to staff who completed tasks efficiently and disappeared. Arwa moved differently. She did not rush. She did not avoid his daughter with awkward pity. She treated the space as if life still lived there. Something in him, long closed off, stirred with cautious curiosity. The day unfolded slowly. Afternoon light shifted, shadows lengthened, and the house breathed differently. Arwa cleaned, organized, and quietly helped where she could. When Anaya struggled to reach a book, Arwa gently adjusted its position without making a show of it. When Anaya dropped a pencil, Arwa picked it up with a smile that did not ask questions. It was these small, human moments that began to stitch something new into the fabric of the house. Xavier, who spent his life analyzing worst-case scenarios, felt unprepared for the way his chest tightened watching his daughter relax in the presence of a stranger. He had built walls of control to protect himself and Anaya from disappointment. Yet here was a young woman who expected nothing and offered warmth anyway. He felt both grateful and afraid. Hope, after loss, can feel dangerous. Arwa learned, through quiet observation, how heavy responsibility sat on Xavier's shoulders. He took calls constantly, his voice calm but strained, balancing global financial risks while worrying about wheelchair repairs and therapy schedules. She saw how he paused before entering the room where Anaya sat, as if bracing himself, afraid of failing her again. Arwa did not know his story fully, but she understood the look of someone holding too much alone. As the hours passed, Anaya spoke more, not in long conversations, but in small comments about the clouds outside, about a book she used to love before it reminded her of things she could no longer do. Arwa listened without trying to fix anything. She did not tell Anaya to be strong or positive. She simply let her feelings exist. That, more than anything, was what Anaya had been missing. By late afternoon, Xavier found himself standing near the window, watching the two of them exist in a gentle rhythm he had not seen since before the accident. He felt an unfamiliar tightness in his throat. He had money, resources, and influence, yet he had not been able to give his daughter this simple ease. It humbled him deeply. Arwa finished her tasks as the sun dipped lower, painting the room in soft gold. She prepared to leave, already planning how she would check on her sister and return to her normal life. She did not expect anything more than a polite goodbye. But Xavier stopped her, thanking her with a sincerity that surprised them both. He told her she had made the house feel different. Lighter. More human. His words stayed with her long after she stepped back into the noise of the street. Over the following days, Sana recovered slowly, but Xavier requested Arwa specifically. What began as temporary help became something deeper. Arwa returned during the daytime, again and again, forming a quiet bond with Anaya built on patience and shared understanding. She helped with schoolwork, encouraged creative activities, and celebrated small victories. Anaya's laughter, once rare, began to surface in short bursts that felt like sunlight after rain. Xavier watched his daughter change and felt something inside him loosen. He began to speak more openly, not about work, but about fear. About how helpless he had felt the day of the accident. About how every decision since then felt like walking on thin ice. Arwa did not offer solutions. She offered presence. For a man whose life revolved around control, that presence became a lifeline. Challenges did not disappear. Anaya still faced physical limitations and emotional frustration. Xavier still battled guilt and exhaustion. Arwa still worried about her family's financial struggles and her uncertain future. But something fundamental had shifted. They were no longer facing these challenges alone. As trust grew, so did change. Xavier supported Anaya's interest in art therapy, something Arwa had gently encouraged. Anaya began to express emotion she had buried, turning pain into color and form. Xavier started leaving work earlier, choosing presence over perfection. Arwa, through it all, discovered a strength in herself she had never been allowed to explore. She was not just surviving anymore. She was making a difference. Now, before the ending unfolds, please pause for a moment and comment below where you are watching from and what kindness means to you. Your comments help build a community of hope. Right here, the turning point came on a bright afternoon when Anaya, waiting by the window as usual, told Arwa she no longer felt invisible. Those words echoed deeply. Xavier, overhearing from the hallway, felt his composure finally break. He realized that the greatest risk he had ever taken was allowing someone into their lives again. And it was also the most rewarding. Arwa never planned to change a life by covering a shift. She never expected to find herself at the center of a healing she did not know she needed to. What she gave was not grand or dramatic. It was consistency, empathy, and courage to show up when it would have been easier not to. As the story draws toward its close, if this journey has touched your heart, if you felt hope rise quietly while listening, please like the video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and let us know in the comments how this story made you feel. Your engagement helps these stories reach hearts that are still waiting for light.